Joseph be extended by 3 minutes.
Honorable members, the question is that the speaking time of the Honorable Member for St. Joseph be extended by 3 minutes. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any against? Aye. I think the ayes have it. Honorable Member, you may continue.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the same logic in when you ring a bell for a dog to come and get his food, it is the same principle that we can apply to corporal punishment. The conditioned stimulus here, Madam Speaker, is that mechanism of corporal punishment. And the unconditioned stimulus, Madam Speaker, is that discipline that follows. Madam Speaker, we talk about fear being instilled, but Madam Speaker, if you really think about it, if there isn't that level of fear between a student and a teacher, Madam Speaker, how is that student going to respect his or her tutor? Madam Speaker, the teacher is the one who is reliable and responsible for teaching that student the values and the norms to which society conforms. That whole idea of value consensus, Madam Speaker. And if there's no mutual respect there, Madam Speaker, how then can this nation move forward from this whole issue of violence in schools? Madam Speaker, I would like to refer to an article, rather a report on a national survey conducted on July 2009 on the region of Barbados. Madam Speaker, before I go any forward, I would like to justify my reason for using Barbados in this debate. Madam Speaker, not only are we both, Trinidad and Tobago and Barbados, sitting in this beautiful Caribbean Sea, however, Madam Speaker, both of us are geographically, historically, politically, and diasporically linked to this Caribbean region. Madam Speaker, in this debate, of all the persons who were interviewed, 54% of them, Madam Speaker, wanted corporal punishment. The honorable members of the government wanted evidence. There you have evidence, Madam Speaker. People want this corporal punishment in schools. Madam Speaker, on the contrary, when students were asked what their views of this corporal punishment, 76% of them said they don't want corporal punishment. But Madam Speaker, think of it logically. If your child tells you, Mommy, I really like to watch television, you know, but Madam Speaker, she does something wrong, would you not ban her from watching television, the one thing that she likes, Madam Speaker? It is the same logic that we can apply here. Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, the speaking time of the Honorable Member for St. Joseph has expired. The Honorable Prime Minister.
Good morning, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the opposition wishes to reintroduce corporal punishment into schools after much debate has been conducted on this topic. They are prompting this government to use an old solution to remedy a modern problem. Therefore, Madam Speaker, if I were to help remedy the degradation of the ozone layer, I should have come to Parliament on a bull cart or ride a bike to Parliament in my freshly pressed suit. I think not. So far, they have presented a moderate debate and actually shows that they are thinking. And that is what we, on this side of the government, love, to see that they are thinking. But unlike the opposition, Madam Speaker, we, the government, think for the people, think about our people of the Trinidad and Tobago. Madam Speaker, so far, the opposition has presented issues on crime and corporal punishment to help discipline. Now, I will read an extract by Hoyt, a man named Hoyt in 1985, that deals with discipline before it arises. He developed the idea of addressing indiscipline through a range of activities. Teachers, for example, through their various ranges experiences with the classroom and children, present lessons that validate these children and help grow their self-esteem instead of bashing or reacting as they often do to these children in a negative way. Also, Madam Speaker, the government, as well as the society and schools, wish to help satisfy the needs and wants of children, therefore preempting indiscipline before it arises.
Is the member willing to give way?
Sure.
Mr. Prime Minister, I'm curious. Who is this man named Hoyt? What credence does he have?
He's a psychologist of the psychologist of the clinical psychiatric ward in the Philippines. Also, Madam Speaker, just to shed a little light on the subjects on the subject at hand with Mr. Hoyt. At the Swaha School in Trinidad and Tobago, meditation is an integral part in our assembly. This would help children focus and concentrate on tasks ahead and help them apply their energies into a positive activity. The school now has lower reported cases of violence throughout. Secondly, parent-teachers seminars, whereby knowledge and guidance is shared to parents as well as teachers in how to apply and approach discipline towards a child. Thirdly, actions to increase the knowledge of a child by the principal and teachers. If a principal or teacher of a classroom knows the background, the academic advantages, or the hidden talent of a child, they can mold that child in something that will be good, instead of applying corporal punishment to when the child misbehaves. Another precaution that the government has taken is to abolish extracurricular activities and implement and engineer the curriculum to support co-curricular activities, whereby children across the school of Trinidad and Tobago, it is compulsory for them to be in an activity that does not relate directly to academics. This will allow the children to vent their energies into a positive activity rather than being indisciplined in the classroom. Also, these activities will help to uncover hidden talents that the child may possess. Example, chess club, sports club, even a debate club. All these can help children make a better tomorrow for this country, Madam Speaker. Also, teachers in this regard play a role modeling function in the school. As we know, children are away from home 6 to 8 hours per day. Therefore, the school will become their home for the day, and teachers would be like parents. Therefore,
honorable members, the speaking time of the honorable member for Couva North has expired.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the speaking time for the honourable member be extended by a further 3 minutes.
Honorable members, the question is that the speaking time of the honorable member for Couva South North be extended by a further 3 minutes. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any against? The ayes have it. Member, you may continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, members of the House. Yes, as I was saying, Madam Speaker, teachers, the role that teachers embody reflect on how a citizen is supposed to behave in Trinidad and Tobago. Therefore, the reintroduction of corporal punishment contradicts notions such as respect for all and solving conflicts with non-violent methods. Also, Madam Speaker, I'd like to draw reference to the psychiatrist Violetta Bosta of the psychiatric ward in Miami, where she explains 8 different ways in which corporal punishment can have a psychological long-term effect on children in schools. 1 is weakness. It weakens the trust and bonds between parents and their children. 2, creates fear in a child. And may I say, Madam Speaker, respect is something that is not to be demanded, but something that has to be earned. Engenders feelings of confusion, resentment, and anger within the child. Lower the child's self-esteem, and so on, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as you know, our region was once a global capitalist for a global capitalist agenda, as witnessed by the Enslavement Act a couple of years ago. The brutality of enslavement was maintained through a range of practices which instilled fear and repression in the slaves, Madam Speaker. We also know that such repression resulted in an explosive all out war in the Caribbean region. Therefore, Madam Speaker, in Haiti. So I ask the members of the opposition do they wish to see a repeat of history again in this Caribbean region, Madam Speaker?
Honorable member, could you kindly wind up, please?
Okay. Madam Speaker, in my conclusion, I would like to say a phrase by the founding father of our nation, Eric Williams, after our independence. Massa Day done, Madam Speaker. Therefore, there will be no more beating, no more ill treatment, and no more repression of all citizens in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you.
Member for Chaguanas West.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I am very appalled by the views of the members of the government. Now, the members of the government, namely Barataria, San Juan, and Faizabad, claim that violence breeds violence and is a barbaric and tribalistic. Clearly, they do not know what corporal punishment is. Madam Speaker, allow me to define what corporal punishment is. Corporal punishment, as given by UNICEF, it is the practice of using physical force to inflict pain but not wounds as a means of punishment. Now, Madam Speaker, violence is defined as injury, death, abuse, and mental scarring to a child. Madam Speaker, based on my intuition, clearly both definitions are not coherent to each other.
D6, the member is reading from script.
Overrule, honorable member, you may continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, based on my intuition, clearly both definitions are not coherent to each other. Madam Speaker, the honorable member for Orpuch West also stated mitigation measures to curb violence in schools such as homework centers, suspension, detention, etc. But clearly these sanctions are failing, hence the reason we are in this debate today. Madam Speaker, allow me to consider disjointed homes as homes are the primary socialization for children, Madam Speaker. When they are single parents, namely lack of father figures, Madam Speaker, parents working 24/7, Madam Speaker, parents are supposed to be teachers. They act as mentors, educators, and emotional and social upbringers. But when they're upset, Madam Speaker, who are there to bring these children? It's the teachers in schools, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, these teachers act as surrogate parents to these children, Madam Speaker. They are educators. They are emotional helpers and social helpers also, Madam Speaker. So when these teachers are not given the right of corporal punishment, but they see it fit to give it because they keep the children's interest in the best of their heart, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, I am saying, as teachers, if corporal punishment is reintroduced back into the school system, along with all the other failing sanctions, Madam Speaker, this world would be a better place. Madam Speaker, I would like to conclude that as a woman, and I would like my child to enter the school system whereby there are teachers that help contribute to the effective and important upbringing of my child, Madam Speaker. If my child is in discipline, Madam Speaker, and corporal punishment is at the best interest in their heart, Madam Speaker, I say I am for that. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Minister of Tourism.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, let me say first of all, I am insulted that I am here today to debate this flawed motion based on misconstrued opinions and a clear misunderstanding of not only the individual and their psyche, but the law and the legal ramifications to the actions of members of this august House. Madam Speaker, before I proceed any further, I would like to ask you whether or not I would be bombarded by the arbitrary use of points of order. Madam Speaker, I do hope that we are able to use our limited time to the best of our ability to debate this motion and debate what is in the best interest of the people and not to deal with party politics and that side for this side. Madam Speaker, I have a question, one question. How can we parallel the upsurgence of violence in schools to the removal of corporal punishment? Madam Speaker, I'm not sure if members on the other side have heard of the term ceteris paribus. It is a Latin term which is used to say all other factors remain constant. And if, Madam Speaker, we are to parallel the upsurgence of violence in schools to the removal of corporal punishment, all other factors involved in the process must have remained constant. And, Madam Speaker, this has not happened. Madam Speaker, I have listened attentively to the poppycock laid before this House by members on the other side. And I would like to go through step by step some of the that they have put before the House. The member for the Hocketa spoke about walking down the halls with a whip and bullying in schools. But my question is, do we have a problem with student-to-student bullying, but we want teachers to bully students? Madam Speaker, the members said that they would like to implement training and other processes to educate teachers. Our teachers are well educated in the first place. Second thing, there is no amount of training that can fix ethos or psychological factors that reside within the mental and emotional constructs of the individual. Madam Speaker, he said that they don't intend for it to reach the stage of abuse. But did we as a people intend for there to be economic downturn? No, we didn't, Madam Speaker. There are things that happen that we cannot plan for. There are things that happen that are beyond our control. And the individual teacher exercising their right to corporal punishment, stretching to the mark of abuse, we have no control over. Madam Speaker, they spoke about instilling fear. But the last time I checked, we live in a democracy. And if we wanted fear, it's best we had lived in a military state. Because, Madam Speaker, I believe each one of us has the right to live without fear and to be free. And you cannot be free if you are in fear, Madam Speaker. And we want our future leaders, the vision of tomorrow, to be free. Madam Speaker, the member for Talparo started using and calling, they like newspaper clippings, right? The member wants, the member spoke about the increase in school safety officers and guidance counselors, etc., etc. But this government has a mandate not only to look after the students, but to look after the job security of the individuals, of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and by the reintroduction of corporal punishment, which is free. So the IADB knew that the vision and the plan for this government was not to reintroduce corporal punishment because that is free, but to put on strategic development to raise the bar of education and to raise the training with our students and teachers within the country. And not only that, Madam Speaker, let's look at the figures, right? In every school, there are 2 safety officers. And there's supposed to be at least 1 guidance counselor. How many jobs are you taking away if you reintroduce corporal punishment? There will be no need for these persons in each school. Think of that, Madam Speaker. They spoke about 11,000 persons being suspended, but we rather, as a government, we remove them from the school system temporarily and treat.
Honorable members, the speaking time of the honorable member for Caroni Central has expired.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the speaking time for the honourable member be extended by a further 3 minutes.
Honorable members, the question is that the speaking time for the honorable member for Caroni Central be extended by 3 minutes. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any against? The ayes have it. Member, you may continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members of the House. Let me wrap up on my response to some of these statements. We rather remove them in the interim temporarily, treat whatever issues they may have, and reintroduce them to the system as well-grounded, moral and ethical citizens of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Madam Speaker, finally, I will just touch on the metropoles issue that we are adopting policies from metropoles. But, Madam Speaker, why is our economy still afloat? Not because of the same metropoles that we want to come and bash in this House. So is it that we want to create an international scandal coming out of this House and our bashing of the metropoles? No, Madam Speaker. As the Minister of Tourism, I want to make it clear that this is not the position of the government, and whoever in this House has that opinion, I am sorry, when and if the citizens of Trinidad make the mistake of electing them to be government, I pray for our country. Madam Speaker, let me skip all of this and go back to the Journal of Education Research by Song Yi Han, right, from the University of Missouri, Columbia. And he says, multiple student violence prevention programs and teacher training programs have fewer possibilities of use of corporal punishment, whereas schools that serve the greater percentage of ethnic minority students and special education students had 2.1 times and 1.8 times greater likelihood of the use of corporal punishment. What does that say, Madam Speaker? We have unscrupulous individuals that take abuse of the system, and we will not be giving them that power, that unchecked power to exercise over our students. Madam Speaker, this has been on the debate for the longest while, and in my conclusion, this debate is not something new. It has started in 2004. It mightn't be local, but it has been going on. And we, this government, have a responsibility to look after the best interest of our future. And with this, Madam Speaker, we maintain that we will not support the reintroduction of corporal punishment in schools. I thank you.
Member for Port of Spain South.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'm here to ask why when a child is punished at home, it is not a big deal. But when a child is punished at school, it's a big deal. Now, Madam Speaker, a child is at school for approximately 6 hours between the time of 8 to 8:30 a.m. until 2 to 3:30 p.m. Now, with these children being in school, a teacher is considered a surrogate parent to that child. Therefore, the teacher should be allowed to enforce discipline. Now, they say teachers are not trained to discipline a child. But Madam Speaker, I ask you, is a parent trained to discipline his or her child? No, my time is spared right now. I'm very sorry. Now, Madam Speaker, teachers are not there for only the academics of a child. They are there for the holistic development of a child as well. Now, I don't know about you, but I know that long ago, if I got licks in my school, I couldn't go home and tell mommy or daddy that I got licks, because I would have gotten more licks on top of the licks that I got from school. Madam Speaker, I am here to show you that licks instills fear in a child, but that fear teaches the child, you know what? I got licks for something that I did wrong. I don't want to get licks again, so I am not going to do what I did. Madam Speaker, if everyone here knows that there is a discipline matrix that is in every school in Trinidad and Tobago. Now, this discipline matrix helps to take action for offenses committed by a child. But tell me, Madam Speaker, how much times could two safety officers, a guidance counselor, and a dean talk to a child over and over and over again about the same act that the child commits every day or every week repeatedly? Now, Madam Speaker, I believe that there is too much violence, crime, and bullying in schools. And call me old time, but I know everything must change. But I still love my old time ways. Everyone could afford to live right, just to feel nice. Didn't need no paradise.
Standing order, standing order 36-1. Madam Speaker, the member is being irrelevant.
Overrule, member, you may continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Now, as I was singing for you, Madam Speaker, now upon your eyes, look around. Smoke in the city, and everything that was pretty, crying out for sympathy. So I say, bring back the old time days. Bring back the old time days. Madam Speaker, I am here, and I stand firm on the belief that the reintroduction of corporal punishment would help and solve the violence and bullying in the schools in Trinidad and Tobago. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the member for Tableland said she was flabbergasted. Well, I stand, Madam Speaker, I'm flabbergasted, bemused, bamboozled, confused. Madam Speaker, because of the vain attempts of the opposition to convince me to reintroduce corporal punishment. Madam Speaker, from the onset, we were accosted by fallacious and contradictory statements by members of the opposition. In his opening statement, the member for La Hocketa stated that we should not follow metropoles, yet he stated a renowned metropolitan agency, UNICEF, for his very definition of corporal punishment, which is the basis of his bill. Well, amendment, sorry. Madam Speaker, he then stated that teachers have today avail many forms of disciplinary measures. Then stated that we should give them another corporal punishment. Now I might ask, how many forms of corporal punishment has the member for La Hocketa defined? Madam Speaker, they said that you should use fear to create a mental ideology in students. Madam Speaker, but why not use rewards? Madam Speaker, he stated again, cultural imperialism, but stated from UNICEF. Where we not only got our laws with corporal punishment from England, which we were a colony of, which is a metropole, which was a metropole, and which shall be a metropole in the future. Madam Speaker, he stated that it would the teachers take lots of time out of their teaching time to discipline students with speaking. But how long would it take to administer corporal punishment to a student? Madam Speaker, I believe that students should have respect for their teachers, not a fear of their teachers, not a fear of the school environment, not a fear of coming to school, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the member for Tableland also stated that we should speak about bullying. And she defined bullying as verbal or physical actions meant to cause harm, mental or psychological or physical, to a person. Madam Speaker, when a student is corporally punished, which is physical violence to that student, that is adding fuel to the bullies to verbally berate that student. Oh, you get licks, you get cut tail in front of the whole class, because that is where that corporal punishment takes place, stated by the members of the opposition. Madam Speaker, they stated that teachers cannot use the methods that they have currently. But I have yet to see a teacher